Hello and welcome to the next session of the Qt World Summit. I'm Katie and I'm software engineer in QA tools team of the Qt company, and in this talk and demo I will show you how to reproduce and analyze GUI bugs efficiently. I will not show how to write user interface tests because I assume you people already do it, but I will show you some techniques how to make those bugs more reproducible and better analyzable, and how to do that in some 3 steps. In the first step, we will see how to use plain text and existing error messaging and how to structure your tests so that they are more comprehensible and more human readable. In the second step, we will have a look how to document test failures with the help of images and screenshots. And in the final step, we will see how to document more complex scenarios where the images only are no longer enough on the video. It's not that those steps kind of depend on each other. You have to implement step 1 to proceed to step 2. You can pick and choose, use all of them or some of them or just one, whatever floats your boat. In my presentation, I will be using Squish GUI tester, which you can use to test your Qt and QML applications, but it's universally usable to test Java, Android, native Mac OS, and even websites. The demo I will show will be a Qt application, but the techniques I will show and the approaches can be used for any application you people need to test. So this scenario where a development team commits some changes in the evening, the QA team has some continuous integration with the user interface tests running overnight, and in the morning continuous integration is read and the tests failed. And now, what to do? Well, usually QA engineers and development engineers are 2 separate teams. Sometimes they don't even speak the same language, or let's say the development team doesn't have such a deep knowledge of the scripting languages that's used for development of the user interface test, and vice versa. QA engineers don't speak the programming language of the development team. So how can we help those 2 teams to communicate better and to somehow analyze the bugs and reproduce them efficiently? Well, let's see. So in the first step, we can just use the existing, like simply the plain text. So we can structure our tests in that they are more readable, and we can use the existing logging capabilities and the abundance of error reporting and messaging to see when the test fails, why exactly it failed, and what went wrong. So for the demo, I will use a very simple flowchart drawing application, which is something almost every engineer should be familiar with. And I will have a very simple test that will add 2 shapes into my flowchart application and connect them with the connector, and it looks like this. I will play a short video with row shape 1, shape 2, and connect them, activate the connection mode and connect the shapes with the line. So I will now show a test case that implements what we have just saw. It is written in simple human readable language. We can understand it as some kind of front end for the actual script that is hidden in the backend. It looks, for example, like this. I can switch with the front end, which is like structured in a plain human readable language with a few keywords, and the backend somehow the actual implementation remains hidden. Okay, so when I the test has run, but when I try to replay it again, let's see if it passes. It will do what we have seen on the video, so just draw two shapes and connect them with the connector. Unfortunately, the test has failed, but already the structure of the test can help us to see what exactly went wrong. So we see like all the steps, but the last one have passed and the last step has failed. We have seen how it has failed on the screen, but for that someone, like some human being, actually has to sit in front of the screen and watch the test being executed, which is not always possible. So how can we help the development engineer to reproduce and to see like what exactly went wrong in the test? So with description of the steps, we see what has been happening. We have also extended the error logging so that we see what's happening every step of the way. The first shape is drawn, then the second shape, and the last failing steps. It looks like some object was not found. But was it really so that the object was not there? Or did it just have a different name? Well, for that, let's see if we can add some more, let's say, photographic or graphical evidence into our test. So for the cases where any sophisticated logging, any test structure, or simply plain text is not enough, we can document screen test failures with images, in particular with screenshot. We can have the IDE, Squish IDE, to log screenshots on every failure, on every error, or we can use something more sophisticated, which is screenshot or visual verification points. But for the demo purpose, I will show how to log screenshot on test failure or test error, and for that I will now switch back to Squish IDE. So this is the test that failed, and what I want to do now is that I want to take a screenshot of the desktop in the moment the test failed. So I will open the test settings, which are individual for every test suite, and I will choose two of these three options that we see on the screen, which is to log screenshot, means take screenshot of a desktop and save it whenever something fails and whenever error occurs. So I will save the test settings now. I will go back to my test and I will execute it again. Expectably it will fail, but now we will see exactly how the desktop look in the moment of failure. So we still see in our test results the error that occurred, but this is new. There is a new attachment that is the desktop screenshot, and when I open it, we see the failure documented in a screenshot. So the two shapes are there as expected, but they are not connected. But what to do in even more complex cases where one image is no longer enough to describe the full extent of what was happening in the test on the system in general? Well, for that, we can document the course of the test case with the video. We can enable the video capture in Squish GUI tester for the full test, also repeatedly for individual segments of the test, and when we execute the test, we will end up with the video attachment that will be linked with the test results and that documents the full happening on the desktop and in the application we are testing. And how does it look like in practice? I will show you after I switched back into the IDE. So here we are back in a flowchart editor, and now we will see some more complex scenario. What can we do with the shapes and their connections where analyzing and reproducing it would probably be difficult with only one image. So let's have a look at that scenario. We will be drawing multiple shapes and multiple connections between them, and at the end we will delete one of the shapes. It makes sense when such a shape is deleted and it's connected to some other shapes that also all its connections are gone. So looking back at our test case, which is again written in some simple plain English human readable language, it's the sum of the rules I have just described while we watch this short video clip, and we're trying to delete a single shape with two connectors and see what happens. So let's have a look. Let's try to execute the test case and see if it passes or fails. Looks good so far. But something happened at the end which made our test case fail. To see what exactly it was, I'm going to now activate a video capture for the entire test. I can do it for multiple test segments as well, but for the sake of simplicity, I will just do it here. So I do it with this simple command, which is called test video capture. I will save it and see what happens now. So I will again execute the test case. I will watch it fail because we already know that. But now I'm documenting everything that's happening on the screen, on the video. And when I look into the test results, I will open this node, and as we've previously seen, and with the image and with the screenshot, I also see some new attachment here, which is a video file. And when I double click on it, it will, let's pause it for a while, it will play in the embedded video player, so we can watch slowly or like step through the, let's see what happens. So we can watch a clip of what has been happening on the screen and how exactly the test failed. Stop, let me pause it. Okay, so what was supposed to happen is that we deleted and we can see that the video is even synchronized with our steps, with the descriptions we have here. So after deleting the shape, which was supposed to happen here, also the connectors were supposed to disappear, but that's not what happened. Connectors disappeared, but the shape, which was supposed to be also gone, was not gone. So we can see whenever we move the slider in the video, the time point in the test results is highlighted. So at every moment we know precisely where in the test we are and what has been happening at that moment in the screen. So that would be like the ultimate step or the ultimate way to use not only pictures, but let's say moving pictures to document the course of the tests and to make it easier to reproduce and to analyze the bugs. In the course of my presentation, I have been using Squish GUI tester, which has all those capabilities of creating some comprehensible, human-readable structured tests to document the failures with the images, with the screenshots, and also, since the version that came out earlier this year, that was version 7.0, to document all the test failures or like the test executions with the video attachments. So I hope that all all those improvements, like structuring the tests better, using the text logging capabilities better, using screenshots and using the video will help all of you to reproduce the bugs, your user interface bugs, and to analyze them better.